Hello, I'm Jen, and I've lived here with my husband for just over 20 years. And we live in a very privileged area of Harrogate. Well, Harrogate's a privileged place to live anyway, but this area particularly. And we have a nice garden, and I thought I'd like to show it you. But first of all, I'm going to show you the context of where the house sits in the neighbourhood. Our house and our front garden has a lovely acer tree which goes lovely red stems in the winter, and a silver birch tree, small, and some planting underneath, and another sorbus tree here. And this is meant to be an easy care garden bit, but it wasn't terribly really, but there we go. And I'm just going to take you around and show you the rest of the houses in this little area that was the cul-de-sac ended here, but it goes on further down now, and lovely neighbours that we have here. So if people visit the garden, as they sometimes do in May, we tend to try and be open every other year or so in May, they come down this side passage and into the garden from the side. So we have a lovely climbing hydrangea on the right here, which has some flowers on it now. It's its time now, and it smells gorgeous. Then there's no really one way round our garden, so I'll go down here and show you various bits of planting. The clematis are particularly lovely at the moment, and I wanted to show you them. And then this one down here, which is called Nelly Moser, only appears to have one flower, and we're not quite sure why, but it's got quite a bit of growth. May come later, but I'm not so sure. And then this is quite a dark bed because the that border over there faces south, so this is north, so it's quite difficult, and likes ferns and hostas and things like that. And the brunnera, that's really nice, that really sings out at this time of year. So if I go back round, trying not to make you too dizzy, here's one of the ponds. They're both wildlife friendly. We've got lots of newts in this one, and there's a little stream that comes down here. And the sun's come out now, so I might pause for a while because it's very difficult when the sun comes out. So we redid the stream this spring because the liner wasn't big enough, so we had to take all the rocks off and expand the liner. But the pump goes all year, it's really good. And the frogs, lots of frogs. We've got newts in the pond and various other creatures that I don't really know what they are. But it gives us a lot of pleasure because we can hear the stream going from some other parts of the garden. Up this way, this is the deck from the dining room, and we often have breakfast out there and lunch if it's early enough. The sun goes off there about 2:30 at summertime. Nice choice here that's sung out, it's lime green. And this bed's had, well, the colours don't match that well, but these oranges have been lovely. And this geum, the trouble with the geum is that you always need to keep deadheading it, otherwise it stops flowering. And then there's a white perennial geranium underneath, and it's this astrantia that doesn't go terribly well, so I think I might take that out and try and put some more of these orange geums, which are lovely, or maybe orange calendulas for next year. So this is mainly perennials in here, a few annuals just down there to just fill out that space a bit. I've put geraniums all the way up the steps this year. There's our little grandchildren's area for their ride-ons. And then coming round here, this rose has been gorgeous, and this border goes quite a long way down. But before we go there, I'm just going to show you this bed, which is my perennial bed. Some lovely plants in here, lupins. This clematis also has been absolutely gorgeous and is full of flowers. I can't believe how many flowers there are on it. And this, I can't remember its name. It's a very common plant. I think maybe it's catmint. And then this clematis also is putting on a fantastic show. And the honeysuckle next to it smells gorgeous. And the rose, poor thing, it's struggling to find its way out. But it's just showing us at the top. I'll have to do something with that, I think. There's another rose here that's peeping out of the clematis. The back of that bed is this bed, and I'm growing some sweet peas here this year. But the trouble is, this is a new bit, so the new plants have not really matured enough yet. Next year they'll be better, and I sowed some wildflower seeds in here, some of which are coming up. But this is not so sunny as the front bit, so I don't know quite how it'll work, but we'll see. So there's Wigelia there, that's been very nice. It's nearly finished now. I have to remember to cut it back when it's finished corner. These are Joster berries, which haven't yet fruited. They're about 3 or 4 years old. 2 of them. They're growing well, but no fruit. I need to ask my friend Olive, who gave me them. And the black currants are coming on. You see there? Some of them are almost needed to be picked. And behind there's a gooseberry bush that struggles because it's a bit enclosed. This is a fan-trained damson, which my husband's in charge of. You can see it's kind of got away. It's meant to be just a trellis, but it's gone a bit mad. But in the winter you can just see the trellis shape, and that's really nice. And then this also is a trellis, a willow trellis, and in the summer it grows, in the spring summer it grows right up, and we cut the tops off and the sides off in the winter when they're just bare branches, and it all springs up again. This is our other pond, which gets quite overgrown in the spring summer. Also got some wildlife in it, but I wouldn't like to tell you what. But I think probably, well, we definitely had tadpoles, and they're probably growing if they haven't been eaten already by other things, but we don't worry too much. And these ferns are gorgeous. They don't last very long, these ferns. You can see that one's going over already. And then the Lysimachia firecracker is, I think, a gorgeous plant and goes well with the grasses. This grass, actually, I'm surprised about this grass because I think it's a wild one, but it's rather nice. Then we come round to another rose, a couple of roses actually. I'll just quickly go past the children's play area to that's the north bed as well, which likes hostas and is dampy things, but rarely has any flowers, although the hostas flower. And that's our hobbit hut, which everyone loves, and a big phormium that's been there probably nearly 20 years, I should think. And my husband made me some raised beds about 3 years ago. I think we're on year 3. So we've got some potatoes almost ready to harvest. Put a few more sweet peas in there. And here we've got broccoli, purple sprouting broccoli and chard and kale. And they're all, I planted them all too early. But we'll have pickings now, and I've started some more off that'll be for the winter. And the broad beans are coming on, and the runner beans are finally coming up their poles. So that's another clematis that's flowering well. And we're going towards the working end. There's a nice bench there that's in the shade, so if it's very hot we can sit there. The greenhouse is filled currently with tomatoes and a few other things that I'm growing on. The basil there, and there's a cosmos and the broccoli and kale that I'm hoping will carry on and be able to be put in the ground before too much longer. And the tomatoes have got flowers on now, which is good. I love growing tomatoes because we just like tomatoes, so we always need masses of them. Growing a few more lettuce. That's been very successful in pots this year, lettuce, and then I just planted out into a bigger pot. And I have to show you the chickens because they're very keen on coming out, but they're not allowed to. So this is a Tropaeolum speciosum, which is a long name for a plant that grows from the ground, and every year it grows back up all this, and it's just about at its peak now. We started it off the other side of the hedge, but it likes this side better. It's a relation of the nasturtium family. So coming down here, I don't actually know what that plant is. I think it's wild, but I'm leaving it because it's quite nice. I leave quite a few things that are wild. And then we're going back. Got a few lilies that are about to come out here. And we're coming down the path now, back towards the house, the back of the Lysimachia, and an Amelanchier tree, which I don't think really likes it there, but I don't think it can be moved now really. Various perennials down here, a lot of those geraniums, Waldorf pink, which there are too many of them, and also Nuododum or something like that, you pronounce it. Thalictrum is a bit of a enormous thing, but there it is again, up there, and a rose. I leave the rose to grow up high because otherwise we wouldn't see it behind there. There's a couple of other Thalictrums. They're a bit large. A friend gave me them. They're a bit large, but they're quite fun. And the alliums have gone over now, but there should be some other kind of alliums coming somewhere. I can't see them. I get a lot of trouble with this weed, which is known as cleavers. It's there again, look. I spend half my time pulling that out. But this area was lovely when all the alliums were out. Bit of fennel there, so I just leave to grow. Nice with fish. A spirea. And I'm just about to try, although I've given up now, I'm going to have to ask my husband to do it, to dig out some of this iris that flower very early on. I've forgotten their name, I'm afraid. And I need to split them because it's just far too big a clump. And we're back to the lovely rose. Okay, so I hope that's given you a flavour. The back of the house has a fantastic wisteria on it, and it was lovely this year, but of course it's all finished now. We get a lot of birds because John feeds them, several bird feeders there. We get goldfinches and goldfinches and green finches and sparrows. No, not sparrows, that's the one thing we don't get actually. All the tits, coal tit, grape tit, blue tit. We get a lot of pleasure from looking at our birds. Okay, so that's it really. Cheerio.